Probably went over.
We still have to go.
Yeah, I didn't even go get through it and think about all the. Maybe it's happening now.
No, there's still all over the place. But they divide it.
Anyone sign up?
What did you for?
What's their name?
I don't think she. One time, we got to like, one of them has pictures of different things around the town. One of them is Ben Little and has a picture of the big ones. And Jordan got really, they would say that was, and they thought that was funny. And I said, oh, yeah, we're going to pick really bad. I'm not thinking of it. I mean, who in the world has a big ones?
Yeah.
And they were saying this, like, or any county that has under. They're looking at a very things that way, like the song, you know, they get pictures that are the things that gives them a thing, you know, to use for things. Not like, no, I feel the I mean, I have my parents, my phone.
Hey, what's up? Kenny, how you doing? Covered in football team? No, sir, I'm running a team. Yeah, that's what you go back to about second week. Last Friday night.
Good morning.
Good morning. Last Friday night was the first Friday night I was home in St. Thomas.
In a while.
Yeah. I've been on the road 15 straight Friday.
Thanks. Non-stop. I got a friend of mine, I was high school here. His son coaches that Lynn Rose.
Oh, yeah.
They were pretty good.
Yes.
They got beat out by Carthage last year.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen them play because they're a passing team. They very seldom run the ball. They throw the ball almost every play.
Right.
And I noticed Carthage, not that they have any weaknesses, or you're not going to run them. That's one thing you're not going to.
Good morning. How are you? Nice to see you.
But they got beat double overtime, and they beat Seminole or somebody. They were ranked pretty good. And next week they went to double overtime, got beat by Rock.
No.
Rock got beat by Green. Well, I think that's
Carthage beat Ross Lexington.
right. Yeah, that's what Rock beat Green. That's what Ram beat. That's what he did.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'd like to see them play.
All I can tell you is that Carthage played back in Carthage.
Oh, no.
Oh,
They done, those scored before I got the table, then they scored right again, right after I got it. So it's just like that, it's 14-0.
I told him, somebody asked me to play girls this week.
You do. You are.
When I got out of the car. Yeah. Oh, well, that's just the way it is.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, I don't know if you remember, but years ago, way back there, right after I got Dangerfield was the team. They won state like 7 years in a row. You never heard of Carthage back then. Now it's just coming. That's who you all talk about. You never hear anybody about Dangerfield. They won state.
Don't get away without us talking.
Okay.
It's all good though.
Okay. Well, I'll stay, sure.
When we, go into the executive session, I'll catch you on there.
Very good.
And then everybody's going to serve, and I received the press releases. Goodbye.
That's your copy of my. Morning. How are you doing, Mike? Pretty good. Very good. To see you. Pretty good, huh? Pretty good. That may be all you need. Open portal. Yeah. Just, Oh.
And thank you for that.
All right, call this meeting to order. And would you please rise? I've asked Commissioner Cliff Williams to lead us in our invitation.
Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, without you, there's no reason for us to be here. Without you, there's no reason for us to seek to protect the people. We recognize that our responsibility today is to the least of these, because those are the ones that you're most concerned about. So, Father, in this season, in this time, we seek your divine guidance. We seek your divine protection. We seek your knowledge and your wisdom to accomplish the tasks that you've set before us. Say that in your right hand you raise leaders, you lower those leaders. So we haven't ascended because of our own talents or our own gifts or our own abilities, Father, but we recognize that you are the one that has promoted those that are leading, those that are following, so that we can only humbly ask for your protection, your direction, your guidance, and the strength and courage to do those things that you've called us to do. And so today, Father, we stand on your strength. We stand on your knowledge. We stand on your direction. Father, we are the sheep of your pasture. We humbly thank you for your Son who died for us and is our cause, our purpose. We thank you, Father. We ask all these things in the name of your Son, who is our Messiah. Amen.
Amen. All right, pledge to the American flag. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. I will call this meeting to order at 9:04 a.m. on Wednesday, December the 18th. In general announcements, I would like to recognize we are privileged to have both our current House District 2 rep and our elect House District 2 rep here in attendance this morning. And Brent Money is our elect to take office in 14th of January. And Jill Dutton's our current rep, and I believe Jill has a presentation to make.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I just want to first just say how honored I am to be able to make one of my final official duties here in Van Zandt County, in my home county, I really, really appreciate everything that Van Zandt County Commissioners Court does for our community, for our county. This has got to be one of the hardest jobs as elected officials, to be commissioners and to be a county judge. You're the closest to our constituents. You hear every single complaint, every single concern. It comes your way and y'all do a fantastic job knowing your community, knowing your constituents. And I just appreciate everything y'all do. But I am here to make a special presentation to our two commissioners who are retiring and rolling off the court. Appreciate everything you've done, your servant leader service, public service to Van Zandt County. So Chadwell Pratt and Keith Pearson, if y'all don't mind coming down, I'd love to present a flag from Austin to each of you.
What do you say? Okay, me. There you go.
Nothing fun back there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. You'll find out later. Another one? One more for me? All right, thank you very much. Yes.
It's been an honor and privilege to serve the constituents of House District 2 and especially Van Zandt County. Thanks for all y'all do.
Thank you, Jill. All right, are there any other announcements?
Andy, I'd like to say something. We're very fortunate here in Van Zandt County. All of our representatives that go down to Austin for us, they realize what Jill just said, that we're the closest to the people. And I think Bob Hall and Brent, Brent and I had a talk just a while ago and his ears were like this. I mean, he's actually listening. It's not just, when you're with folks, it's not just going through. And so I appreciate all of y'all that represent us down there. You know, thank you.
Y'all come down to Austin, you're in session, it'll be fun, we'll take it on a nice tour, bring the kids. We're gonna take you there.
We'll take you up on that.
Thank you,
All right.
appreciate it.
Well, I do appreciate what y'all do and y'all taking the time out to come to Van Zandt County and visit with us. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. There are no other general announcements. Any public comments? Anybody sign up for Tabitha that you're aware of? Okay. Item number 4, consent agenda. Items are considered routine by the Commissioners Court and will be enacted in one motion. There's no separate discussion of these items unless the county judge or commissioner requests an item be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. I do have a correction on the meeting minutes for December the 4th. If you look at it says discuss and consider authorizing county judge to sign letter and memorandum of understanding with agencies utilizing the P25 radio system. And it says motion by Commissioner Keith Pearson to authorize the county judge to sign MOU with correction to be made, and seconded by Commissioner LaPrade. All voted in favor. The MOU was not corrected, but a cover letter by the county judge. We discussed making changes to that, and that's what the correction was. It wasn't, there was no change to the MOU itself. So, is there a motion to correct or accept the consent agenda items with the correction to the meeting minutes on December the 4th?
Judge, I had a question about budget transfers before we do the whole thing.
Okay.
But I'm fine with your minute correction.
Okay. And then let's go ahead and
so I was kind of curious, there's 2 budget transfers in there for the same thing. For $60,000, one from general fund and one from contingency, but it's labeled for the same purpose.
Okay, I don't, let me look,
It's on 28,
page 28.
item 28.
Okay, well, that's separate and that
That's
is,
bad, sir. I was in the wrong spot. Forgive me there.
Okay.
Get down there.
all right. So are we good? Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda with correction?
A motion.
Second Pearson.
All right, motion made second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passed. With item number 5, discuss and consider appointing Jack Evans to the advisory board of the Van Zandt County Sarah Norman Library, representing precinct 4 for a 3-year term to start on January 1st, 2025.
Rather than my speech for me then. My name is Emily Lanning and I'm the president of the Van Zandt County Library Advisory Board. And on behalf of that board, I would like to recommend Jack Evans for that empty spot for precinct 4 as a returning member and ask that you appoint him.
A motion.
All right, motion made. Is there a second?
Second, William.
All right. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Emily, very much for coming in. Item number 6. And we keep putting this on here because we love to have Judge Sheehan come visit us. So the item number 6, discuss, consider the creation of the position of the Youth Diversion Coordinator in compliance with House Bill 3186 with an annual salary of $40,425, with the county initially funding up to $50,000 of the program budget, while grant applications are made for the balance of the program funding.
Okay, so I'm here for my bi-monthly visit. So it, hopefully the wording is long enough this time that we covered everything we need to cover, but I'm here to ask the court to release the funds that they're holding to let us go ahead and hire a youth diversion coordinator for the county as we're writing a grant. In fact, that opened this week and Jennifer's already been started on that. She's got a lot of the information that we need to get it turned in. We're working on that. And so, but what that motion, what that's for is to go ahead and let us hire somebody and use the funds that we have in an account now, pay for that until we get the grant, and then understanding that if we don't get the grant, that when that money runs out, I'm not asking the court to fund it at this time. Might be back in October, but at this time, not asking for that. We're also going to go to the cities when we finish here, and we're going to ask them to enter an agreement with the county and contribute what they have if needed from here. But that's not done yet. Right now, I'm just here to ask the court to release that money. Let us hire somebody.
Okay, technically, we're not releasing that money.
Okay.
We actually went into contingency
Okay.
to fund this position for the up to $50,000. And then the new budget year, that's when we can release the money that's in there in the new budget year.
Okay.
So do that. All right, any questions? Commissioners, is there a motion to?
Yeah, well, I guess I do have a question.
Okay.
Let's go to number 8. Explain to me a little bit about, I was told this employee, this position will not be a county employee. And so.
They will be a county employee, and they will report to whatever elected official we appoint to the board in number 8.
You want to talk about the board?
That's what before I decide on this position,
Yes.
I'd like to know about number 8.
Okay, so what we're proposing is we set this up to look just like the juvenile board that we have now that covers class Bs and class As. This would be class Cs. So we set a juvenile diversion. What we want to do is set a juvenile diversion board up that will oversee this position, because this position does not just work for the county. Like all the municipal courts also, this person works for them also. So it's not just the county position. So we want to set a board up which consists of 1 JP, 1 municipal judge, 1 legal, which either if Fonda has somebody, then we're going to ask her to put them on. If not, we'll use one of the city attorneys to be on that position, and law enforcement. And I talked to Judge Reese today, and if we want to add a commissioner to that board, that's great with me. That's fine. That give us 5 people on that board. And that board will just oversee this position. This position, once we get past this first few months, is gonna be grant funded. So the only thing the county will, at that point, will do, will accept the grant money and then pay it back to the person. So, but this person actually doesn't just work for the county, works for all the courts in the county. And so that's the reason we want to set a board up to oversee it, because we don't know who else will oversee this person. I mean, like, they'll be working for 9 courts, you know, not just the 4 JP courts. They'll be working for all 9 courts. And so, you know, I'm sure that the other municipal judges don't want one person overseeing their court. It's a weird, I know this, the state did not tell us exactly how to do this. We're making the mold as we go, but that's the only way we can think. Because the cities also have money in their funds. They've also collected juvenile money, $5 a ticket for those years and years. And they've all, just like we have, they've all developed this balance. Because nobody has any way to spend it. You can only spend it used to on a case manager. Now the laws change. You can spend it on a coordinator. And so, we want to tap into their funds also. We want to give to them and sign an agreement. None of them had very much, is the problem. County had the biggest amount of money. So that's why we want to set the board up. We want to set the board up to oversee the person, to work with the courts, and then whoever on that board will report back to you guys. But there'll always be at least 1 county employee, 2 if y'all want to add a commissioner to it on that board.
So the board does the hiring and the discipline and the.
Yes, overseeing, make sure the job, yeah, right. Like if a judge had a problem, hey, man, this coordinator's not serving my court properly. Then they have somebody to go to, not instead of you guys. I mean, they have to go to this board and say, look, this person's not doing their job, and the board can hold them accountable. And so I just wanted I wanted the positions of the board to be kind of set by you guys, and then we can get those positions set. But that's what the board will serve. And of course, you know, they'll come to you, answer questions. Right now, I'm proposed to be the JP on the board by the other JPs. But, you know, down the road, it might be somebody else.
With the county funding, and I would prefer to see somebody off the commissioner's court to be on that board.
That's fine with me. I think that's great. That gives us 5 people, and I have no problem with that.
And that's just my personal
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah, this person is going to serve all 4 JP courts, but also all 5 municipal courts. So the state allowed us to kind of write our own rules and make agreements with cities and counties. We could even go to other counties and set a bigger one up, but this was enough. This was enough right here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that kind of explains what we want to do.
So you want to go ahead and approve the board? While we're talking about it, or go back up to number 1?
Either way you want to do it, but yeah, I would certainly like to have somebody off the
Okay,
commissioner's court on that board. If Van Zandt County is going to be funding the money, I think somebody from this court should be on.
okay. So the 5 people you said, JP, a municipal judge, someone from law enforcement,
And then legal, which I haven't
legal,
talked to Tonya yet, but if she doesn't have anybody, then we'll reach out to the city attorney. The
Okay.
city attorney that covers Van, I would say.
So are we talking about the board right now?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did y'all have anybody, you got anybody in mind on the board, Scott?
For the positions.
Yeah.
So the JPs wanted me to do the JP position. The municipal court, right now, Lily Durham and, Judge Pearson has both agreed that they would either want to do it. And then that's it so far. We don't have the other positions. We gotta reach out to them.
Do we have a commissioner that's willing to serve on it? Brenda?
I'll do it, Scott.
Okay. All right,
So now we need a lawyer.
Well, thank you. That's what I
okay,
waited to hear back there.
All right.
Okay.
all right. So is there a motion to approve the creation of a youth diversion board to oversee youth diversion coordinator and the youth diversion program with a justice of the peace, a municipal judge, someone from law enforcement, a commissioner from the Van Zandt County Commissioner Court, and someone from the legal side, potentially from the DA's office.
Well, I think you should on the court. I think you should a member of the commissioner's court.
Okay.
Because you might want to be on it. A future judge might need to be on it.
Okay, a member of the Commissioner's Court.
Yes, sir. Not just a commissioner.
Okay. Very good. So is there a motion, that motion?
So move Pearson.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Now we'll go back up to number 6 and discuss consider creation of the position of the Youth Division Coordinator in compliance with House Bill 3186 with the annual salary of $40,425, with the county initially funding up to $50,000 program budget while the grant applications are made for the balance of the program funding. Again, while we have $38,000 allocated from fines and all, we did not budget for that in our current budget year. So we made provisions, and that's coming up in the next agenda item to fund it out of contingency money for the time being until we can budget that money in. And the individual will, in order to be a county employee, they need to have somebody in the county that they're reporting to, and that would be the commissioner or judge that is on the board. Okay, and that's to allow them to have county email access, equipment, that such as that. So is there a motion?
So made.
All right, is there a second?
Second, William.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes, sir. I wish we'd put something in there that is contingent on this grant. If the position will become null in the future if the grant is not accepted.
Right, well, we limited ourselves to $50,000 right now.
Even if it's $50,000 will continue on. What if the grant doesn't happen? You're not, I think you need something there that if it's not, if you don't get the grant, the job.
Well, can I say something about that for a second? So, the 50,000 will probably last, I hadn't done the math, but for the grant probably won't pay till May, June. I mean, we don't know exactly the date.
Right.
But if we're successful in the cities going in like we're thinking that they're going to, then there's probably another 20 that might be able to use that money. And so the only thing about the grant is if we don't get the grant, we still might be able to fund the position until next budget year, possibly if the cities kick in.
That's what the 50,000 is.
Right.
Is to fund it too.
But I mean, I would hate to say discontinued on the grant, because if the grant fails, but we can still make it to the next budget year, and I can come back and ask you guys to do it, I'd like to at least have that opportunity.
I want that to be clear. It's going to continue on, grant or no grant. Then it's just court willing for this to continue on.
Right.
5, 10, 2, 3, 15 years, whatever you want to say, if there's no grant there.
But if the grant is, say Cross Springs, we don't get the grant.
Right.
We're not upheld to keep that position.
Right, because there's not,
We don't have to have any.
we will not produce enough revenue
Right.
to pay for that position next year. It would have to be something that we all felt strongly enough about that y'all budgeted for it.
So we would just, if it didn't happen, we'd just come to that court and say, hey, we didn't get the grant, we need to.
That's gonna be.
We're gonna.
We'll know the next budget cycle.
For the next budget.
Where we're at.
Yeah.
But we are required to have one.
We're required to have a
Not
plan.
necessarily,
Yeah.
not necessarily to have it funded, so.
Yeah, the position is not required. I don't want people to be misled there.
No,
This
no.
position is not required.
No, we just ask you guys, we think it's the best for our people and our youth. And so we're trying, to make this work, but it's not, there's other ways to do it, yes.
All right, so motion been made, second, any further discussion?
So we're gonna leave it, it's not, we're not gonna tie it to the grant. I'm just asking the two guys that made the motion and say, it's up to them.
When the budget comes back around, we'll go through there, we won't.
We could-
Success and whether or not it's been a project that.
Here's the deal. I mean, if the $50,000 runs out, if we don't get the grant, the city don't contribute, it's not gonna make it, and we're gonna have to. That person that we hire is gonna know going in that that's what's gonna happen, and it's over with. But if the cities kick in like I think they will, we might can make it to the next budget year without the grant. We feel strongly we're gonna get the grant, but can't promise that. So, but that's kind of where we're at, and then we'll have a year to see how this works.
That's right.
Yeah, and we might not want the position after a year. We might not even find anybody in a year. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. I mean, we're gonna try, but this position's not gonna be easy. It's gonna gonna be tough.
And putting a limitation of, if you don't get the grant, that makes it even that much harder to find somebody that will take a position that they know could be a very temporary position.
Right, it really limit us a lot, yeah. I
So
wouldn't feel like.
this 50,000 should carry you the remaining 9
Right.
months. And then, so.
And that's if we hire
July.
somebody quickly. We might not hire somebody quickly.
Come June, July, you can go through our budget, you can come back, present it with results and the court at that time.
At that time, it'd be the board coming back. I might be representing them, but it'd be the board coming back. We'll see how that goes. Yeah.
And you'll have to bring that, whoever you decide to put on that board will have to come back to this, those individuals. We agree what the class is, but we haven't agreed on the people.
Also, my initial motion, everybody's an understanding of the budget, they'll reevaluate.
It can be killed. It can be killed then if need be.
That's right.
All right. All right, motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 7, this is the technical details to be able to fund that $50,000 we just announced in the we just approved. And that is discuss and approve line item transfers related to the creation and funding of the youth diversion coordinator program. It's taking actually not 50,000, but 47,950 out of contingency and putting it in a transfer account to the diversion, and then the second one to transfer to actually the department. But is that a whole new department, Sandy? It's a whole new department that was created.
We just haven't had
Those accounts. Okay, so the details are listed in the breakdown of that. So is there a motion to approve the line item transfers related to creating?
Motion to approve the line item transfer.
Second,
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Because you didn't, the motion didn't spell out where we're taking it from. You just said motion to approve the transfer. His motion should have said exactly what you stated it or something anyway. It passed.
Okay, taking it out of contingency. So I want to make sure you understand. It's in the binder. All right, item number 9, discuss, consider approval of exceeding, thank you, Judge Shin. So what are we gonna need to do to get you back here next meeting?
Nothing.
He's deaf.
I'm not doing it.
All right, item number 9, discuss, consider approval of exceeding the 25% of budget for line item 132-560-454 automotive maintenance. This is in the sheriff's department. This will be Captain Williams.
So already this year, in this budget year, we have used up at least 25% of our automotive maintenance and repair budget. We're asking the court's permission to exceed that 25% because we still have vehicles that are in the shop, need to go to the shop, just got out of the body shop, that sort of thing that we need to get fixed.
Okay, now, but aren't the body shop ones covered by insurance?
The majority, yes, it is, but I'm gonna have to move the money from the insurance over to the automotive maintenance and do a line item transfer to pay for that.
Okay, and you need to also explain that is two vehicles we had engine replacements on.
Yes, sir.
One was actually in last year's budget, but they couldn't get it completed in
Yes, sir.
time for last year's budget, so we had to put it in,
Yeah, we had to roll that money
roll
over
up
this
this
budget year.
expense over this.
But then there's been another one that has had to have an engine replacement in this budget year. And
That was the first one, was $10,700 for the Ford Edge, and the Chevy Tahoe is $15,165, correct? And that puts you over the 25%.
yes, sir.
Okay,
That and all of the other little things that we've had to have fixed along the way.
do you think you'll have enough I guess it doesn't, this is a little more discussing, is there a motion?
I make a motion for the current sheriff, Joe Carter, to exceed line item 132-560-454 over 25% of his budget.
Second.
All right, motion made, second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 10, discuss and consider approval exceeding 25% of budget line item 131, 512-450, repair and maintenance buildings. Sheriff's, or is this jail?
Yes, sir. I was notified by the auditor's office that we were getting close to the 25% on that one. And every day something's breaking back there that we have to have repaired. So I want to make sure that I can have something repaired when we do get to that 25%.
Okay. So you haven't reached any significant repairs?
Right now, we're working with Synaptic on some door repairs and
We've had ordered for probably 6 months. They came yesterday. The first time they came, they measured the door wrong. We redid it, but I guess the door is still not the correct size. These aren't something just staying in where they had to build a door. So we did that out. We did the cell 5, the single cell. We need to get ways out of it. They're just certain things back there where it's currently go. Or we need to repair.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
Let me add one more thing to
Okay.
Sorry, interruption. I have spoken with Sheriff-elect Kevin Bridger. He's aware of both these requests. We put on here for his forward vote.
I motion to approve it. I motion to approve line item 131512450 to exceed 25%.
Second, Pearson.
All right, motion made, second, any further discussion?
This is just, for y'all sitting out here and listening, this is things that the court sets for, in place when you have an existing elected official going out, 25% of the budget. This is just thing routine that we have to go through. Business has got to go on. Mr. Carter, thank you. It doesn't stop just because you're leaving.
And we had also, this budget started in October, so the end of this month, December, we're 13 days away. We'll be a quarter way through the budget, so but the budget's on track.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 11, discuss and consider approval for Judge Reese to sign a contract for a biannual inspection of the purge fan system in the Van Zandt County Jail by Consolidated Refrigeration Technologies.
So moved, Pearson.
All right,
Second.
all right, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes.
Those who saying they're gonna submit here.
thank you, Billy.
And just, that contract is, how much is that contract for? Not, 33 plus, a month, so. All right, item number 12, discuss consider purchases of shop equipment and tools for communication department from ARPA interest funds.
Yes, Joe, I put this on here. As y'all aware, we've got two gentlemen over there in the communication department that'll be maintaining the radio system once it's up and running. We got 3 years of warranty where they'll be training and learning, but they're still going to need tools and equipment to handle and maintain the stuff when they take it home. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and get this equipment in place so it's ready for them. And they'll be able to utilize it as we're installing the equipment at these tower sites. They'll be there with them, watching and learning, and they'll have tools they can work with. I feel it's better to get this equipment now with ARPA interest than to try to come back and budget again later as part of the project. What you'll see in your book is just a breakdown of the different things they're wanting to order and the prices, and again, we come to a total cost.
Can you give a little more detail about the Astronics?
Yes, sir, that is the machine that aligns the radios and makes sure they're in sync and working properly. And it allows you also to test the bandwidths and basically make sure the thing, that's the test machine for the radios. So with this, we'll be able to align our radios twice a year without hiring someone to come do it. We'll be able to go out and line repeaters and check them. And that's one reason why it's a expensive piece of equipment, but once you buy it, you've got it for the next 20 years. It's a heavy duty sturdy piece of equipment.
And that invoice was what, 42? That quotes for 42,950.
Yes, sir. And they had priced 3 different ones, and this was the best one at the price. And it's also the one that was recommended by the L3 Harris shop and by 2 or 3 other radio shops we communicated with that work on Harris equipment. We actually went and looked at some other places. And then some of it's just general shop supplies, some of it's general hand tools, just things they need to conduct business out there.
So I didn't total it, but it looks like it's roughly $50,000 total
Yes, sir.
investment. And how where is this equipment going to be kept and is it be maintained at the sheriff's office?
It'll be stored in the communication office.
Okay.
That led me to another line of wrong for the only one I have is $7,100. I don't have $7,000.
I'm looking at the current binder that was put out the 16th.
You're only seeing that the one for the tools. You're not seeing the one for the.
Like, I don't have a machine. It was living on the location of last night. I'm talking about
Yes, ma'am. I'll get it to you.
that thing. Yeah.
Okay. So is there a motion?
So made.
Second.
Okay, and for the purchase of shop equipment, tools and communication department, for roughly approximately $50,000.
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 13, discuss, consider extending the building lease.
Yes, Judge, I've been, if y'all remember, we had talks in the past, on the building that we're leasing in Wills Point from the city of Wills Point, for radio installation and storage of the radio equipment. Originally, the owner of the building, well, let me rephrase that. We were leasing it from the city of Wills Point. The city of Wills Point sold the building. And so now we're leasing it from an individual. That individual had originally come back and said, he thought he had somebody interested in the building. And so he told us if we wanted to extend the lease, we would have to extend it for a year. We said no, because we knew we weren't going to need it for a year. He contacted me and said that arrangement fell through, and he extended his apologies because he didn't get a contract or anything. He was just going by just a gentleman's agreement, and that gentleman backed out on him that wanted the building. So now he said, hey, if Van Zandt County wants to continue on month by month, it'll be fine. With the hurricanes and everything that happened earlier in the year, all the Harris people went to the East Coast to restore power to those people's radio system. So it's thrown us behind a good 2 months, maybe 3 months. So I put this on there to give us the court the opportunity, if they wanted to continue to lease that. Mr. Ellis said, just let him know if we want 2 months or 3 months. It's our building. Don't have to sign any lease or anything. Everything he's got is good. So, that's why I put it on there. I personally believe we ought to extend it through March. I think Mr. Platt will agree, may all be done at the end of February, but just to cover ourselves.
Isn't there a clause in the current lease that allows a extended month-to-month basis, even though that lease is with City of Wells Point and not, he still has to honor that lease, correct?
I believe that's correct, but I believe we've already gone over that lease and decided that yeah, we might be able to, if we wanted to be that type of individual to our neighbors, we could probably shove Mr. Ellis over in that corner and say, yeah, we're taking this building for 2 more months. I don't believe that's the way Van Zandt County operates, or that's the way Van Zandt County wants to operate. So I put this on here to give the court a chance to discuss this, to see if we want to, with a gentleman's agreement, tell Mr. Ellis we want it through the end of March, through the end of February, through the end of January. We don't want it all. That's the court's decision. It's here for discussion.
Right, I don't think though it's a gentleman's agreement. We're under a lease obligation that typically a lease, once you reach the end of its primary term, it continues on a month-to-month basis until such time as notice has been given to terminate that lease, unless it's got a hard end date.
We're saying we don't have to do anything on the lease.
Yeah.
We've told Mr. Ellis we were going to be out of there at the end of end of December. So we need to go back and tell Mr. Ellis different. Now, I can tell Mr. Ellis, hey, I think we ought to keep it, but I don't represent this court when I'm out there. The court needs to make a decision today if we're going to get out of it at the end of December, or we're going to continue on. Just to let Mr. Ellis know.
And we do need to try to keep it till the end of March if we can. It's gonna take that long to get everything installed and up and running for sure.
I'll make a motion, we contact, one of us contact me or Chad, contact Mr. Ellis and tell him, yes, Van Zandt County wants the building through the end of March.
Second.
Let's make it you.
Okay. I'll make that motion and I contact Mr. Ellis and tell him we want to continue to lease the building through the end of March of 2025.
All right.
I'll second the amendment.
All right.
The contract we've got now covers it. That's what I'm saying. We don't. Thank you.
Something.
He'll send us a bit.
We're currently riding into a City of Wells Point, correct? Okay.
Yeah, but if the lease is assigned, with the, if the building is purchased, then the lease is assigned, we can just do an assignment of that lease and Kenny can cut his checks based off that assignment lease. From the city over Mr. Ellis, and then you got what you need. My concern is that you there's already a legal opportunity to pay to continue this lease. If we need it through March, we're fine. I think that if we do something today, then what we're putting ourselves into is by the end of March, we better be out. And if we need it through April, now we've got to bring it back up again. If we just allow everything to roll the way it is right now, the lease is still in place. We can, if we need to stay through April, we can stay through April. But if we put on the agenda today that we're going to take it through March, then we've limited ourselves. That's
well, you can come back, Cliff. If you're in the rent business, you don't want just open. Okay, I don't know how long I'm gonna rent it, Mr. Owner. I'm gonna rent it. I might rent it January. I might rent it through December. That's not the way a landlord does business. He wants to know how long you're going to be there so he can plan in the future his future leases. So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be a gentleman here and let another gentleman know how long we're going to be in that building or how long we think we're going to be in.
Well, I don't want to, I appreciate your definition of a gentleman, but I have commercial buildings, I have real estate, residential. And sometimes when you enter into a contract, sometimes it has a solid end date. Sometimes it doesn't. That's all I'm saying. I have no problem with this. If we go through April, we go through April. But, you know, that's,
Well, you might not. He may have new lease in April.
the lease already provides for that.
And I don't believe Van Zandt County wants to shove him in the corner and say, we're gonna keep that building as long as we want to. buddy."
Nobody's shoving anybody with, you know, with these agreements. He, you know, this lease was entered into, he bought that
We can
building
sure
with his
make
eyes
this-
wide
we can
open.
Sure make this stuff complicated, can't we?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to have you build it in another 3 months. It really helps us out a lot because I've been scrambling trying to resolve the issue for the last 3 weeks. To answer your question, Miss Sandy, the city sends us an invoice every month. I'm sure Mr. Ellis will send us one as well. Sure, people talk to me about that. So we'll have documentation to go off of. Sir, I believe you have a motion in a second. I'll call the question.
All right. And the motion was. You wanna rephrase it?
That Keith Pearson contacts Charlie Ellis and says we want to continue that lease through March of 2025.
Second.
And Brandon second. All right. Question has been called. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item 14, discuss, consider appointing a committee for interviewing the fire marshal position.
Oh, yes, it is mine. I'm sorry. We've got applications for the fire marshal. Jesse's gotten in and it's time to start interviewing. And so I put this on here so we could get a interviewing committee. I personally believe that I don't think I've told Bobby this, but get ready, Bob, that the 2 liaisons is who I recommend in, which would be Mr. Williams, Commissioner Pratt, and then Mr. Bobby Phillips to be, that'll give you a 3-man deal to start looking at those interviews. That would be my motion.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and second for Commissioner Williams, Commissioner LaPrade, and Commissioner-elect Bobby Phillips to be the interviewing committee. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like,
Hold on. When are we planning on doing these interviews?
When
When are we planning on doing these interviews?
they're gonna start pretty soon. So we're just waiting on the committee.
Well, my question was if we do some after January 1st, we need Mitch on there.
Yeah, well, I assume the interviews will be done by.
Okay.
I think the interview's scheduled for tomorrow, ain't it?
Yes.
So I think this will be filled by then.
But I agree with you. I mean, if it's not, then it's pretty clear that Mr. Pratt won't be here.
Mhm.
So the court will have to do something.
we'll do a replacement.
I would be glad to amend that, good catch, to that, if the interviews happen after January 1st, Mitch will be replacing as a liaison for Mr. LaPrade.
Can you do that by in your motion, the current sitting commissioner for precinct 1, 2, and 3?
No, because that's gonna all change, because if it comes January 1st, he won't be able to do it. Because you have 3 commissioners. So it'll have to happen before January 1st. Or you're gonna have to have a whole nother group.
I mean, at this point, we have one, we have one resume, we have one application in, and we hopefully will have, you know, additional ones. So, but
You should, yeah, you're gonna have a whole nother committee if it happens that way, because you'll have 3 commissioners.
Right.
Don't make it complicated.
So I think you're good.
So your committee's good to December 31st?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so motion has been made. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 15, discuss and consider interlocal agreement with the city of Van.
Yeah, I put this on here after y'all did y'all's interlocal agreements with y'all's respective cities. I looked into mine with Van. We had one for, I think, 2014, 15 from when the tornado was, so it's kind of outdated. So I would like to motion that we
It's the same agreement as we did with the.
yeah, it's basically the same ones, some adjustments, but make sure we have a interlocal agreement with the city of Van. So I motion that the county has an interlocal agreement with the city of Van.
All right, motion is made. Is there a second?
Second, Pearson.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 16, discuss, consider subdivision variance for Scott McGriff in precinct 3.
Yes, sir. I put this on here, Judge. And this is the first. This is the first time that we're going to discuss a subdivision variance. And the developer did not request it. I requested it. Mr. McGriff is putting in I would call it an event center. He purchased, a few years back, he purchased a dirt track over north of Edgewood that did run very, very regular, had lots of complaints when that thing was running back at that time. Since Mr. McGriff has purchased it, it's only special events is when it's there. It's the only time it's open. It's not open. Hey, come one, come all every week. Any weekend you want to come on. We're running. You can lease the complex. What brought this about is Scott has added some RV spots over there. And so not only me, but the surveyor called me and said, hey, well, we need to plat this and that and all this kind of stuff because it's RV. Well, these are not RV spots that you will lease long-term. They're RV spots that are there for you to use if you lease the event center. And so in my little pea brain, which y'all know I don't believe in big government. I don't think we ought to be telling everybody what they have to do. In my opinion, I don't think we have the authority or the right or the privilege or whatever you want to call it to tell Mr. McGriff what he can do over there. I don't believe it needs to be platted. And so I bring it to y'all. Scott's here. I asked Scott to come in case y'all had any questions. Like I say, come on up, Scott. Like I say, Scott has taken everything. He called me, everything's been taken to Brian Abbott to review. Brian calls me and says, Keith, we're getting way out here on this. And I said, I agree with you, but what do we do? And so Brian and I talked, and that's where I put this on the agenda. So don't y'all think about it before you second it. I'm gonna make a motion that we not exempt Scott McGriff from any variance, but this project, because he may come up and do another project that would fall under. So it's not an exemption, a variance for Scott McGriff. It's an exemption for the dirt track on Highway 19 North of Edgewood. So that's my motion. And so here we go, Scott. We're going to stretch your neck out here.
Thank you. Judge, thanks for letting me be here, commissioners. I want to say thank you for being here for the day, to commemorate y'all's retirement. I've worked with both Chad LaPrade and Keith over the years, and Judge, I want to come to you later. I think we have a project that we can fund all the roads in the county. We're going to set up a fund. You have to pay $1 to complain. And so if we could raise that fund, we could probably pave all the streets in Van Zandt County with gold. $1 for every complaint that these guys have. So appreciate y'all service. And I really appreciate working with you guys over the years. Yes, I'm here. This is 150 acres. It's a facility that we're going to do some training on. As a matter of fact, as far as an RV park, this would be a horrible RV park because number one, it's a gated facility. You can't get in there without a key to the gate or an invitation by me. And it's in the very back of the facility. As a matter of fact, you won't be able to see it from the road. It's not going to be advertised. You know, Joe Schmuckatelli can't just pull in there and rent a spot. There's only 12 of them, and that's what these are for. These are really out of the way for my friends and people who want to stay. They're going to run them.
Is there some septic hookups?
There's not, and that's why we went ahead and filed the full blown thing with the engineer. We've already got the septic engineered through the same state process that you would any other facility. It's, you know, it's in that state approval type engineered design. You know, we've already got the roads in there. The road is 22 feet wide. So everything's in place like you would a normal RV park, just to meet those standards. Because the same thing, if there's a problem back there, I don't want there to be a problem with my RVs back there. Something, you know, emergency services have to get back there. I want them to be able to be there. So everything's been done. That's why I submitted it to Brian, the engineer that you guys are working with. We talked about that. So it's really just a private.
So to answer your question, Judge, the septic, the on-site sewer has been designed. It has not been installed.
It has not been installed, waiting on this.
The registered designer has designed it and to be installed, but got in, he wanted to come come to us and see where we were. And I'll tell you, I didn't look at it that close. I said, hey, Scott, take it to Brian. And I never looked at the plan, and Brian calls me and says, hey, this is got a little bit different here. I'm not sure this is classified as an RV park.
Yeah, it's just 12 spots.
So how is the county gonna protect itself from when we get these investors coming in from Dallas? That they try to skirt these rules anyway, and they found out about this. How do we protect ourselves from them not saying, well, you know, this is what you did for here. I'm doing the same thing. I'm not how are we gonna protect ourselves?
Well, because that's why I classify this as an event center. And there's no long-term leasing. You can't. And we'll spread that out here, however we need to do it, Tonda.
299 Branson County Road, 3611.
And other, each one of these spot and have a sewer connection, or is there just gonna be a dump station on the way out, or?
These 12 will have, it's been designed that those 12 would have their own individual dump station.
So what would happen, just to say hypothetically, I'm devil's advocate here.
Sure.
I buy a piece of property right here by First Monday, and I'm gonna make it an RV park, but it's not gonna be permanent. It's just for First Monday weekend, and I've got 100 spots, but it's on First Monday weekend. Will we classify that as an RV park?
I would say no. If it's just like the one the city of Canton has here now. It's not in Van County. City of Canton has a huge RV spot right here in front of the Civic Center, but you cannot go over and lease a spot for 30 days there and live there. You can lease it for 3 days at First Monday. You might be able to go in there and lease it for 3 days when it's not First Monday, but they don't want any permanent residency there. Mr. Griffith doesn't want any permanent residence there. This is just, would be like a state park. What are we gonna do if we get another state park come into Van Zandt County? Are we gonna make the state of Texas do everything? Because the state of Texas in a state park, you cannot go in there and live in that state park. You can go in there and stay for 3 or 4 or 5 days. You got to leave. You may have to pick up and go to another spot. You can stay another 5 days, but the state of Texas doesn't want anybody living in a state park permanently. So,
I'm not against that. I just don't
No, I
want to put
understand.
Pandora's box here.
no, I'm right there with you. We gotta cover ourselves.
So do we need to define what long-term lease is, or the amount of time that would be considered acceptable?
What is considered not, to me,
There's a specific definition for something that short, because you know, certainly a long-term lease is more than a month, but it's not month by month.
But if there are subdivision and guidelines in the RV park, we can make long-term whatever we want. Because there are subdivision and guidelines, right?
I would suggest that you tie it more to, rather than the length of time, because like you said, then anybody can put up anything and decide at the front that says no stay longer than 3 days and get away with doing anything they wanted to do. So I would make the definition somehow tied to the fact that it's only for people who are also customers of his business.
Then that way, if I sell it, then the next owner would have to come, if they want to develop the whole 150 acres to 1,000 RV parks, they would have to come back before you guys. That would make sense.
So you're not leasing the lots, you're leasing the facility and they can utilize the lots.
Yes.
So what do we have in writing to verify that? How do you do it where it verifies this is a variance because the lots are not for lease? They're just part of the facility when it's leased.
Is there some kind of a deed restrictions, Scott, that you could put on there as far as just your RV park? That, is 12-spot RV park, is restricted to
The use of the facility.
that and, would that cover, deed restriction?
You could write it for, deed restriction, you can write it for that one, yeah. Or,
That deed restriction never goes away, and that would cover everything that Brandon's saying, and anybody else comes in, if you want to put a deed restriction on your RV park, hey, we'll consider it. So,
The only person who has standing to bring a violation of a deed restriction would be him in the future. And if he sold out and he moved to Hawaii, he's not going to come back here and prosecute a case on a deed restriction. That's a concern related to deed restrictions. So, so sometimes.
no, but we could. If he sold that to somebody and they started bringing RV spots out there by the month and breaking that deed restriction, you tell me the Van Zandt County couldn't follow those restrictions?
Can't file on those restrictions. You're not a party to that agreement. Yeah, but and that's a huge consideration related to how to really define this. So, and my question was same as yours. We would, if we were going to approve this, which I'm not opposed to it, because I think it should, I think you should have the right to do what you want to, but we should approve an exemption as it relates to this particular and include the legal description for in that. However we wanted to do it. The event center, yes,
And no individual lots are leased.
correct.
And you could limit it to the number.
Now, and I think our future option related to this is to get it. If something is in violation of our rules, you go to the district court and you get a declaratory judgment that they have violated the rules of Van Zandt County subdivision ordinances.
Okay.
And you can pursue it, and that's
Okay.
Yeah.
The events are in.
Would be trained, right now what we're doing is, like right now I've got a kid that trains motocross, he's from Austin, and so they'll come up 2 days a week and then drive home. Most of these people have homes, they live. As a matter of fact, I've got one couple, they're coming in March from Canada. It's a young lady, she's 14 years old. Been trained, so they come down, when the weather's bad, they like to come to Texas. Because they can train.
Is this the same track that was recently used? For some chicken fighting events? Yeah.
Different tracks. You had a different location. Yes. This is north of 80.
I don't have a problem seconding, but I think we just need to word it to where we protect ourselves for future endeavors that come our way.
Yeah, if y'all decide to do it, I would do it as a variance, but then I would also put it on our list of things that we're looking at. When we do an overall review of the subdivision and put in the definition. But it's not just for one person.
And I'll tell you, to your question, I won't be on here, but if somebody put in a wedding venue and had 12 RV spots that went along with that wedding venue, or if people were having a weekend event for that wedding, I'd be the first one to say, sure, that doesn't qualify.
Hey, we can have weddings. I mean,
No, I agree, but it's always
Yeah.
99% of
Yes.
people do right. It's that 1% that ruin it for everybody.
And that's why I wanted to come, that's why, when we started, I submitted it all, the whole package and everything to Brian, and he brought it up, and said, it's only 12 spots. And it's a horrible location. I mean, the average Joe, it's so far in the back, and we did that on purpose, it's tucked in the very back of the property for privacy and stuff like that. Joe, the average citizen's not even know it's there, you know what I'm saying? We could have a wedding.
So are we considering
So-
deed restriction?
No,
No.
we're gonna tie it to the property,
Yeah.
so let me cancel that other, motion. I make a motion, we pass this variance described to this legal piece of property, and then in the event that this changes, we do have the recourse, Scott, to come back and say, no, you're going to make a change, but you are a future owner if you start leasing this out, month by month to somebody. That's mine.
Yeah, in a friendly motion, modification would be that the variance is for an event center located at such and so address and at such time that the property is leased in any other combination or that further
We'll come back to
commissioner
this.
court action would be required.
What's the address?
299 Van Zandt County Road, 3611.
Okay, I'll add to that this is for an event center at 299 Van Zandt County Road, 3611, and all RV spot leasing, it will be tied to something going on in that event, at that center.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded.
16.
I'm not gonna ask, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Tabitha, do you want to read that motion back? Just to make sure we got it.
I have that you are passing a variance for the event center at 299 Van Zandt County Road 3611. All RVs will be tied to the event center.
It's all RV.
Do I need to go with this young lady on that wording? What is my next step? Do I need to get with you?
No, this is all, I'd like to.
Okay.
Okay.
And unfortunately, you'll be responsible, Scott, for anything Brian charges you, because you're not coming to us.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take
Sorry
care
for
of
your
it.
bad luck. So,
Take care of Brian. So I'll need to notify, because I did all that through Myrtle Springs Septic. Well, he still has to have approval from you guys to move forward with that. Is that what?
Yeah. Well, from the fire marshal office, yeah.
yes, if they have a problem, just tell them to call me and I'll explain what the court did.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for your service.
Yes, sir.
Item number 17, discuss consider approval of Dominance Glamping plat located on Van Zandt County Road 3816 in precinct 3.
Yes, sir. This is a pretty unique situation out there. And they've done all of they've gone to Brian, everything's been done. It's really not RV spots. It's what it says. It's glamorous camping. It's real. I've been out there and looked at real neat. They have some tree houses. They have some bubbles, for lack of another term. I mean, it's very, very plain, very neat. They've done everything, turned everything in, got the roads all straightened up. Got the common areas and the restrooms and everything out. There's a restroom in each camping spot, but they also have a restroom facility like our, so I make a motion, we approve this for plating purposes, for filing purposes.
Can I ask for clarification? This is Domance? It's not, or is it Dominance?
It's just common spelling.
Domance?
I don't know how you.
Like romance, domes, or dominance. See, I
Domance.
Domance. Domance glamping. You made a motion?
I made a motion. that we accept
I'll
for
second.
filing.
Make sure we get the pronunciation right.
Yes, sir.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose like sign. Motion passes. A little bit over halfway through. Item number 18, discuss and consider Wood Creek Estates Phase 2 plat located on Van Zandt County Road 4106 in Precinct 4.
Yes, I brought this up a couple weeks ago, and it turned out it's a replat, not a tier one. After talking to the owner, we had a miscommunication, so a public hearing is needed, and I need to set this public hearing for January 29th so that neighbors are aware and the proper steps are followed. So I motion that we have a public hearing on January 29th on this, and we move forward.
Second.
Ma'am,
Change the color prior to.
and withdraw the prior approval. So we have lawyers here for it.
All right, and who made that motion?
I did.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, is there any further discussion?
Yes, sir. Hats off to Brandon. This is his first plat revision. And so he did good. And Scott went in and make sure we get it on, you know, that we don't have to send out letters, but we have to post it on our website that we're going to be discussing this, that the court is going to be discussing this on the 29th of January. That should be at least 30 days out there. So good luck.
I need it.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 19, discuss and consider board appointments for ESD number 1. And that appointment is Andre Pickens, correct? And Samuel Spencer. Those are the 2 appointments. Is there a motion to accept these appointments for ESD 1?
So moved, Pearson.
Second.
All right, motion made, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Motion or discuss and consider appointments, board appointments for ESD 2. And we have one, Bobby Colosino and Eric, Steve Erwin. Let me see if there's any more. There is more. Lance Mayhew. 3. Lance Mayhew, Steve Aaron, and Bobby Colosino. Is there a motion?
So made.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say.
These are the 3 that are on there now, correct?
Yes, that's 3 sitting board members that sign back up.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 21, discuss and consider board appointments for ESD number 3. We have Brian Cummins, Sue Ball, Heath Morris. 3, those 3.
Motion.
All right, motion is a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 22, discuss and consider board appointments for ESD number 4. And we have Ray Thomason. The only one. One appointment. Is there a motion to appoint?
So moved, Pearson. He's Ray's on there now. His term's up.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion made, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. Item number 23, discuss and consider and approve 1 6-month lease agreement and payment concerning a belly dump trailer from Brazos Trailers Precinct 3.
Judge, we have one trailer. We have 3 belly dump trailers over in Wills Point. 2 of them are together and one of them lags behind. So this is just a same song, another verse on one of the lease trailers that we have in Wills Point. I make a motion that we to authorize the county judge to sign this lease for this belly dump.
Second.
All right, motion made second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Uh,
clarification, who made a motion and second on that?
I'll make the motion.
Keith Pearson and Chad Pratt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item 24. Discuss and consider meeting with potential financial advisors and bond counsel.
Yes, I'll put this on there, with the jail and other projects, we're gonna need a bond counsel, and I've been talking to Drew Whittington with Government Capital. I believe they've been with us for like 20 years. And, I think we need to discuss on this issue, you know, who we're gonna use for the bond counsel and start moving that step forward on this, because we're gonna need one before, probably about 30 days, we're gonna need one. And Tonda has something to say too.
Actually, there's two separate things that we need. One is a financial advisor company, and that's what Government Capital that we've used in the past is. And then we need a bond lawyer. And that's the lawyer who makes sure that we get everything done correctly in order to have a bond election if y'all choose to eventually have one. Folks have been reaching out to us. They've heard through the grapevine, y'all are considering a bond election. And so they've been reaching out. A couple of different financial advisors have, a couple of different bond counsel have. Y'all just need to decide what process you want to use to hire those two services. Both of them work on a contingency basis where there is no fee unless the bond election is approved. So not my decision. You need to figure out how you want to hire those two. I'm happy to help with.
Would it be appropriate to put an RFP out?
It's a professional services agreement, so you don't have to do that.
Okay.
I don't think there's time for that. I think we are already, if y'all are serious about a May bond election, we are already way behind and we need to get them hired immediately because they're, as I understand it, and I'm not a bond lawyer, but as I understand it, there's a 10-day period in February that a lot of stuff has to be done and approved in order to be on that May ballot, if that's what y'all choose to do. Whatever lawyer is going to handle all that stuff in that 10-day period should have started 30 days ago. I've talked to a couple that say they can still get it done. But y'all got to get them hired.
How can we, I understand we got to get them hired. How can we don't have a price. How can we keep going?
They all work off of a contingency basis. I assume it's going to be about the same percentage. Because it's a competitive industry. Whatever amount of the bond, if the bond election is approved by the voters for X number of dollars, it'll be Y percentage of X dollars. And that's less than 1%, of course, but yeah.
I don't think we're going to know the cost of this project until end of January.
Exactly. But, and we won't know the cost of their services until we know the cost of the project. But at this point, they're the ones taking all the risk. Because if the project, if y'all decide not to have a bond election, or if the voters vote no, they don't get paid. So they're the ones taking all the risk.
So what is exactly that they do?
So the financial advisors are the ones that tell us, that represent us in getting the credit, in getting the debt, in selling the debt. And the big thing here, the big controversy here is there's two different ways to sell general bonds. There's a competitive market way and there's a negotiated price way. I can't tell you any more than that, but different companies recommend the different ways. For example, Government Capital that we have used for small projects in the past their record, if you look it up with the state, their record shows that they almost always do the negotiated sale way. The other company who has reached out, been rather aggressive in reaching out to several of us, is US Capital. They claim that the better way is the competitive bid way. And truthfully, Commissioner, I can't tell you any more than that. I've never, it's not my area of expertise. It's not something I've ever been involved with before. You guys will have to decide which company you want. Either company can do both. Both companies have done both in the past, and ultimately you can tell them which one to do. But one company does more of one and the other company does more of the other. I would recommend that you get them in and talk to them and let them tell you why they think this method is better, whether they're willing to do the other method. I think they would be, because they have done the other method a minority of times in the past. And then you guys just decide. You can all do it in a workshop, or you could appoint a committee with two of you to do it. As far as the lawyering goes, all of the big mega firms in Texas have a government bond division. And they all have partners in their 120-man law firms that specialize in this. Any of them would be capable of handling it. The two companies, Government Capital and US Capital, have both made recommendations. I've talked to some of those lawyers. Y'all could choose to interview lawyers the same way. You could choose to tell me to hire the lawyer. All your choice. But on the financial advisors, you need to get, that's you guys', not my decision.
Linebarger have
No, sir.
people do it.
No, sir.
So these lawyers, this firm, they'll gather information and bring back to the court, so the court can make an educated decision on how they want to move forward, if they even want to move forward. That's basically what they would do.
Correct. And if you're even contemplating a bond election, you need these people on board. And like I said, it isn't going to cost you anything if the bond election, y'all don't have it now. If you have it, never. Or if it doesn't pass, it's not going to cost the county anything.
We've already got an architect figuring prices. If you wait until for that architect to give you that price before you move forward, you're too late.
Exactly.
So
You're too late for May.
You're too late for May. You've got to get these people in place.
Because that architect isn't going to have us that price until late January. And by then, there's all kinds of documents and things that have to be done. I'll give you an example. Any money that you spend now, but you may spend some today, and there's an agenda item that you may spend some on today. Any money that you spend now, if you want to reimburse out of the bond proceeds, you have to pass a motion and you have to pass a motion now. And you have a 60-day look back period in order to reimburse the general fund for any money you spend on this project now. So every day that goes by is a day less that we can look back in that 60-day period and potentially reimburse the general fund out of bond proceeds if we need to. So you got to get going. You know, you just made the first, or you're about to make the first architect payment. If you want to ultimately reimburse the general fund for that first architect payment out of the bond proceeds, if it passes, you have to have that motion in order in place within 60 days of doing it. Look back period.
I think my preference would be that we allow, that we recommend that Conda moves forward with hiring the council. But you know, I'm definitely interested in hearing from the two bond companies with what's going to save us the most money. Because quite honestly, that is key.
And that's what they're telling us. That's what, oh, my way will cost you less in the long run, or, oh, my way will have lower payments. That's what they're both telling in these upfront conversations, but nobody has come and talked to y'all and said why and proved it to you and let you make a good judgment call.
And if the future court decides they don't want to proceed any further, there's still no cost.
It still does not cost. That's
So we're
correct.
actually gonna get these lawyer services to gather information, provide information to the future court and make a decision. It ain't gonna cost us.
Correct.
And then you go on the record, get information for you. It's more about information.
So the first step was we need to get a bond counsel hired.
Yes, and if you want to allow me to do that, because it's legal services, I can do that, but you also need to get a financial company hired. And those are the ones where either all of you in a workshop or some of you in a committee need to let these guys sit down with you and tell you why they're the best.
I think we need to schedule the workshop at the earliest possible time.
We're doing need to schedule a workshop. Well, yes, I think we need to schedule a workshop, but
Not for hiring counsel. I think we need to hire counsel and we need to schedule the workshop today for, whatever the minimum amount of time would be between publication of the workshop and holding the workshop. And those folks, need to be here.
Well, Monday would be the earliest.
I'd say we do it Monday morning.
We
9
gotta
o'clock.
get counsel under contract first.
I know the lawyer is really crucial on what they have to do.
Yes,
Do you know how crucial your financial? What's the time frame on them?
Financial advisor.
Yeah, financial advisor, what's,
I got it right here, actually, I think.
Sandy, do you know how soon we need to have them? I don't have a great answer for that. I don't know how vital it is to have them on to prepare for February, like having the lawyer on to prepare for February is.
When you have somebody working for you at the rates that they're working for us, I think sooner is better than
I agree.
the earliest convenient time.
And,
I get
and
your
in a workshop, the future court members, I know the composition of the court's gonna change here, but the future court members can be present and in a workshop can voice opinions.
Do we need
Okay.
to have a contract signed by us with the lawyer?
And another thing I was gonna suggest, I'm sorry, Commissioner, I didn't hear your question. Another thing I was gonna suggest is that you schedule a workshop to be followed by an executive session and an open session, so that you can, after the workshop, if you want to discuss in private, and then, because it would be a contract, so you can discuss in private, and then come into open session and go ahead and make a decision if you're ready. You don't have to if you're not ready, but that, if we post it, then you can if you choose to.
Do you think on financial advisor that the 30th or 31st would be safe in it?
I believe there's one of them who has told us that they cannot be present on the 30th.
What about the second?
Should be fine.
And I think if you done it January 2nd, you'll have that court that's gonna be dealing with this through in here, and they can be the ones to discuss it with.
Do we want to bring them both in at the same time?
On the workshop, where they would come in independently and.
Yeah, you can ask one of them to.
So you think the second is soon enough?
I would say yes.
On the financial.
On the financial, I would say yes.
I'll make a motion, we authorize Tonda to go ahead and research and get us a lawyer in place, a legal counsel in place. And that we post for a workshop to visit with a financial people on advisor on the second of January.
I'll second that motion.
Get that, Tabitha. Motion was to appoint Honda to, select a bond counsel. Where'd she go?
Yeah, selective hiring.
Select and hire a bond counsel. And that, we would schedule a workshop for January the 2nd with, financial advisors.
The executive session and open session.
That's correct.
For financial advisory, you said?
Yes.
With a commissioner's court immediately following the workshop with the executive session and open session. That's my motion. That's your second, Cliff?
It is.
All right, motion made. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign, motion passes. Item number 25, we will now exit our regular session to go into a closed executive session in compliance with sections 551.0725 Texas Government Code. Conduct a closed meeting to deliberate business and financial issues related to a contract being negotiated. So it is now 10:30 and we will close our regular